All right, so we're gonna start William today. I made this super quick drawing dissecting him into little parts so that you guys can kind of see the steps that we're gonna take. Today, we're gonna do the 2 pinch pots. Tomorrow, I'm gonna start to show you how to make the legs. It's gonna be a very specific process so that we can smooth them in and also attach them and make sure they're not gonna just fall off, because we wanna actually like smooth them in. Then we will go in, we'll make the shape of the head, and I'm gonna show you guys how to hollow that out and sculpt it a little bit. He's not all that detailed sculpturally. A lot of it comes from some of the little paintings on him. So that is gonna be the last step, going in and adding in the little decorations. If you want to go directly off of William and make a replica, you can. If you would like to, you know, alter your lotus flowers a little bit, or look up some different Egyptian floral designs, you're more than willing to do that as well. So today what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be taking these two and connecting them together. So in order to make about the size of a potato, you want to take 2 balls of clay and you want to make sure they're approximately the same size. I would make them somewhere in between the size of a baseball and a golf ball, like right in between. Imagine you had a baseball, then your William pinch pot ball, then a golf ball. I was like really trying to think before the exact, I'm looking around the room. That's okay. So remember to make sure you pat it between your hands like that, smoothing any of these little imperfections on here. And I'm gonna say that's probably pretty good. You could see like a baseball would probably be like yay, golf ball here. So you want to try to make them about the same size. Remember, we are going to be pinching them out, so they are going to get much larger. Yes, we are using the speckled brown clay, so the light brown. And we'll kind of see, if they're a little off, it's not the end of the world, but you don't want, you know. And also keep in mind you're gonna need enough clay for feet and a head. So if you have to make it a little bit smaller, that's okay. These aren't the exact same size. Maybe I'll add a little bit more clay to that one. They don't have to be perfect because we are gonna be attaching them anyway, but we will need to pinch them out into the same exact width. So you don't want to keep them in your hands for too long because they'll start to dry out. You guys are also going to want some slip. If you didn't make slip, that's okay. The clay is really fresh. We're going to use a coil also to make a really nice seamless attachment. So we have not done pinch pots in a while since our first project. I always say that it's kind of funny because even though like the definition of a pinch pot is the elementary way of, you know, pinching and creating a small pot, sometimes it's not all that easy. You guys are going to want to take your thumb, put it into the center, and I like to go about 3/4 of the way in. You can't see all that well there because it's kind of dark. After that, you don't want to just rest it on the table and kind of do something like that as you're pinching it, because William is rounded, so we don't want it to be flat. you guys are going to take your ball of clay in your hand like this and go in with your finger, your thumb inside, and your whole entire hand pinching the clay. And it's okay if, you know, it's slow in the beginning. You can then go ahead and you can use both your thumbs. And you don't want the top to get thin, because that's where we're going to be attaching it. And we're just hollowing these out. We don't want to make them too thin. The reason we're hollowing these out is so that we don't just have a big hunk of clay, because then we know what happens. It will go kaboom. And I don't want all these little Williams to go kaboom. If you want to start opening it a little bit wider, what you can do is hold it in your palm like this and just take your thumb and kind of push out. And then just kind of keep rotating. And as you do that, it should push out pretty even. If you get any cracking along the top, completely natural, just go in and kind of smooth it up. But I'm just gonna kind of play around with this, try to get it as open and wide as I can. And you can see it's almost like half a potato right now. This is what we're going for. We're gonna smooth them out more later once we get them attached, so don't worry too much about that. You do wanna make sure though that you have a nice rim here to go ahead and attach them together. So this would be one pinch pot. I'm gonna say that seems pretty good. And now I wanna go ahead and I wanna open my second pinch pot to the exact circumference of this right here. If it's a little bit off, we could work with it, but we're gonna try to get it as close as we can. Just putting my thumb in there, just really press in, and then using my whole entire hand so that it's nice and even. And you're gonna get naturally some fingerprint marks in there, and that's okay. I'm just smoothing up like anywhere the clay starts to crack. And just make sure once you open it a little bit, then you could use your entire hand to do this. So by the end of this first step, which, you know, take your time guys, get really nice pinch pots, because this is pretty much the foundation of the project. So if you need to take some more time after class, or you know, you want to work on your pinch pots for a little longer, really once you make them, we're just going to be attaching them together and smoothing. So today is potato day. Potato day. And then we have one more little project. And let me know if you guys have any questions on, you know, along the process. I like to just kind of smooth any of the little cracks. And I'm gonna start to kind of line it up and see how it fits together. I feel like I'm gonna, you know, open it up a little bit more. But when we go ahead and create the head, one side will become a little bit larger and one side will naturally become a little bit smaller, just with the amount of clay. And you could kind of look at your potato form and decide where, you know, you want to, you know, what side you want to make the front and what side you want to make the back. But don't make them too thin. That's something that's really important. Don't make them too thin. So let's see. I think that'll work. I think that'll fit together. All right. So if you have slip all made up, you can use slip. The clay is pretty fresh. If you don't have slip, we could probably just smooth it with a coil. Or if you do want to make a little slip and then just wait to attach them later today, you can do that too. Remember, you're going to want to make some little score marks so that the slip can seep into those and create a stronger bond. But a coil also creates a good bond as well. And I'm gonna always like store these this way so that they don't flatten. And you guys don't want these super thick, but you don't want them, you know, too thin as well. Just a little bit of a close-up. I'm gonna make some little marks. Now, I'm going to show you one thing you can do if you feel like you're kind of scared of when you start sculpting on this, that it might get a little bit flimsy. I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick. So let me go grab a little bit of paper towel. And you can go ahead and you can add a little bit of newsprint or paper towel or something like that into each pinch pot. That way, when you go ahead and push against it, it's not gonna like push in all that much because you have something in there, you know, that is holding it in place. You don't have to do this. You can if you want to. With the legs we're attaching, it's not gonna be that important that you fill it with paper, but if it's something that you want to do, you can go ahead and do so. The paper will burn out in the kiln, kind of like how we talked about pencil and graphite burning out in the kiln. So you could go ahead and do something like that. Just make sure that it's completely in the pinch pot so that when you go ahead and attach them together, you're not gonna run into any problems. I'm not gonna do that for mine. I think I'm just gonna leave it. If you have slip, just a very little bit. Like you don't really need that much, just a little bit. Just on the one side. And I am going to kind of then go in and almost like smush them together. And let that seal up. It's okay that they don't match up perfectly. And you guys could see it's pretty much the size of a potato. So once you have these combined, The last step to creating your proper William potato is to create a very small coil to wrap around the seam and then smooth in both directions. So you just need a little bit of clay. Doesn't have to be anything, really big. In fact, just because it's filling a seam, you don't want like this really hefty coil to go ahead and put in there. It doesn't have to be a perfect coil either. Just, something that's going to attach that seam. So I'm gonna go in and I am going to take this coil while also compressing it very lightly. I'm not pushing on it very hard, just very lightly because I don't want to injure the pinch pots. So now you have like a potato-shaped planet. And we'll go ahead and we will cut off the clay right where it meets, just like you would a coil pot. And smooth that together. So now you have two potatoes with a little ring around it. Your pinch pot looks like Patrick's house. That's like a rock, right? Is that good? I haven't watched SpongeBob. Oh, perfect then. Perfect. So once you guys get this, all we're gonna do is we're going to smooth the coil in both directions. So make sure that you're not applying too much pressure to it. I'm just going nice and light. And this is where adding some paper towel inside would help you if you feel like you might push too hard on it. It will hold it in place, but you really just need to gently smooth it in. So I'm just gonna take half one way and half the other way. Okay. I'm gonna flip it, and then I'm gonna smooth the other half in. And you wanna smooth it to the point that you don't know a coil was there. And if there's like any little bumps you need to fill in that you can't with just the coil, you could always add a little bit of extra clay. I like smoothing a little bit in on one side, then flipping it, rather than doing the whole entire thing. At once, I just feel like I have more control over it that way. But I'm just being very gentle in how I'm smoothing this. And tomorrow when we get into class, I'm gonna ask you guys to show me your potatoes. So be ready, because I wanna make sure we're all on the same pace. The steps I'm gonna give you for our last two projects are definitely things that I know that you can get done on a 1 or 2 day basis, and I'll let you know as we go along. For instance, the legs might take us 2 days to do, and the head will probably take us 2 days. But you could see it's already getting nice and smooth, and you know, we're forming our little body here. Then if you look at my image, boop, that's there. And then we'll do the head, we'll do the legs, we'll do everything like that. And I'm not gonna grade these in stages like I did with the past two projects, just because I feel like I don't wanna overwhelm you guys at the end of the semester. I'd rather you just work on these and not be so stressed with uploading every single step. Rather me just knowing in class, like let me see, you know, everyone's form real quick, and I'll know you're on track that way. And we'll shape these a little bit as we build like the head and the legs on. Not too much though, because he's pretty like oval in shape. So by the end of today, if you have something looking kind of like this, you're looking good. You're looking good. You could then go in with your metal rib tool, and if you want to go in and smooth it up a little bit, you can. And we'll definitely be smoothing these really nicely before we go ahead and apply the black underglaze on them. And then you guys will all have your very own beloved mascot. And, you know, just keep smoothing it. Mine isn't, you know, perfect, but like I said, that's okay. You could kind of go ahead and look at it tomorrow and, you know, look at the shape that we're gonna make and be like, do I wanna attach my legs here, or do I wanna attach them here, you know, depending on the shape of the figure. And we'll go over that tomorrow once we start making the legs. The legs are not gonna be that hard to make. They're gonna be almost just like making really thick coil pieces and then sculpting a little bit extra onto the bottom of the foot. And I'll show you guys how to blend it really nice into the body. Make sure that you do have some slip for tomorrow for the legs. So even, you know, as you're working now, if you just want to take like a little bit of clay and crumble it like that and set it out to have for tomorrow. But yeah, I'm just gonna go in and smooth this. And like I said, if anyone has any questions, I not only have my videos uploaded, if you ever wanna set up office hours with me, you can. All teachers have office hours from 9 to 9:30. Just email me, let me know if you want, you know, to meet up. It could be for 10 minutes, it could be for the half hour. It doesn't matter. But if you just want, you know, a little bit more one-on-one help on your projects. And I'm just smoothing. So if you have a potato, you're looking good. You're looking good. This is a good old russet right here. just gonna keep smoothing. And not only with this sculpture, you know, any sculpture that you do, it's always important to look at it in shapes. Just like you would if you were drawing or painting something, you want to kind of say, okay, I need to make this. What techniques can I use to, you know, reach my final goal? So while we made pinch pots for this, we're actually gonna sculpt the head just as it is out of clay. It's gonna be solid, and then we're gonna scoop a little bit out to hollow it out before we attach it. Yep, so just smooth, smooth, smooth. When you guys go ahead and wrap these up tonight, don't put like a ton of wet paper towels on it, just like one slightly damp paper towel. Wrap it up really well, just because we don't want it to get too wet or too flimsy to attach the legs on tomorrow. Maybe we won't get to attaching them, we might just get to making them, but some of you guys might reach the step to attach them. So kind of keep it in like this nice fresh clay stage like this, and you should be good for when we start attaching the legs on.